construction or residential and commercial?
Definitely. So Greg is a great friend. Greg Willingham and McCarthy, his company, are great friends of SEFCA. He has been involved in SEFCA in just about every way that you possibly can be. He's hired construction-ready graduates. He's been involved in our Career Expo. He's involved in Skills USA. He's just a big champion for SEFCA and for the construction industry in general. And I'm so thankful because he's a superintendent, a senior superintendent, as you said, in our industry. And Kayleen, you know that superintendents in our industry are viewed in very high regard, I would say. In fact, I've heard companies say that, you know, the superintendent is really more important than our president and CEO to a construction company. And so I think it really speaks to the importance of that role, and just so thankful to have Greg today. But one of the things I wanted to share with our viewers today is just the difference between, you know, a general contractor and a trade contractor. And Greg works for a general contractor. A lot of people, when they think about construction, you know, they say, oh, we'll just hire a construction company. Well, that's like saying, I'm going to go see a doctor. You know, there are so many different types of doctors. And if you think about construction in the same way, there are so many different types of construction companies, right? And so in the case of Greg, he's a general contractor. His company's a general contractor, which means they're ultimately responsible for that big project. And Greg's going to talk to you about a lot of the big projects that he's been involved on. But what he'll also tell you is he did not build those projects. McCarthy did not build those projects by themselves. They hire what we call trade contractors or specialty contractors. And so those are electricians and plumbers and heating and air conditioning technicians to come in and do a lot of the specialty work. Now, a lot of times the GCs will do what we call self-perform. So they'll do things like concrete, drywall sometimes, that sort of thing. But most of the time, general contractors are really just managing the trade contractors who are installing the actual physical work. That's the traditional general contractor model. And it's true, really, Kayleen, it's true in commercial, obviously, but also residential. I mean, even in the residential space, a lot of times you'll have a GC who's not doing any physical installation of work. They're just managing the contracts and managing the relationships with the owner. But it's those trade contractors. Sometimes people call them subcontractors. That word has kind of fallen out of favor, of late. And so people in the trade contracting or specialty contracting business prefer the term trade contractor or specialty contractor. And so again, that would be an electrician, a plumber, a mason, a drywall company. Those are all what we call trade contractors. But so excited to talk to Greg today from the general contractor perspective, and especially Greg, because he's such a great friend. Greg and McCarthy are such great friends of SEFCA and the work that we're doing here in Georgia.
I love it. And I love that explanation, because sometimes it's really hard for folks to understand all the different nuances that happen. You know, we are doing a dance. It's a very delicate balance and flow that happens in construction. And in fact, I like to tell when I'm working with kids and students, and especially because I come out of residential construction, that I'm a general contractor. And that's like being the conductor of an orchestra. You need to make sure that all of your instruments are in tune, that everybody's on the same page, and then you can create great music. And a GC is similar, but I don't like herding cats. That is a lot of what happens. So I'm thrilled to get Greg's insight from the commercial perspective, because gosh, if I'd been able to see this lunch when I was younger, I would have gone into commercial in a heartbeat. Oh my gosh, they have better tools and toys and build bigger stuff. And so if I had known, so hopefully we'll inspire some people to check out the commercial side of stuff. So now, Scott, real quick, are you going to be hanging out today for the rest of lunch so we can chat at the end?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to hearing the conversation, and I'll definitely jump back on there right at the end to share some additional thoughts. Look forward to it.
Very good. So all of our viewers do know you can put in questions into our chat box, and Scott is here to help answer them. So Scott, thank you so much, and I'll see you in a bit.
Thanks, Kayleen.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye. Hey, Greg, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Kayleen?
I am terrific. Thank you so much for joining us today for lunch, because I'm a nerd for construction, but as I was saying before, if I had known about the commercial side of stuff, I would have done that in a heartbeat. So can you tell me, first of all, tell me a little bit about McCarthy, but then also, can you explain to our viewers Senior Superintendent. That's a pretty cool title. What does that mean?
Okay, yes, thank you for allowing me to join today and SEFCA to be a part of this. Really looking forward to talking with you. So McCarthy is the largest privately held general contractor in the U.S. We've been in business since 1864.
What?
Atlanta. Right. In Atlanta, we started out with a CDC project and opened an Atlanta office here in 2005. We've been able to partner on projects. The CDC, like I said, was one of our first projects.
Wow. Oh, cool.
And when I first came to McCarthy, Georgia Tech EBB was one of the first projects that I worked on, and very proud of that project. I moved from there to Emory J-Wing Hospital, which is a large addition to the main campus at Emory Hospital. And that's very near and dear to my heart because I spent 4 years there, and it's helps a lot of people, get better. So
big time. And that glasswork is beautiful. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it's an awesome building. And then the last project that we have photos of is the Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson Airport. That's the landside modernization, which is the canopies at both of the terminals where you come in, and that was a joint venture with Due South and FS 360, and just a very high-profile project, something McCarthy is very proud of. So McCarthy is we always embrace technology and innovation. We're a 100% employee-owned company.
Wow.
We have 5 regions across the U.S., with Atlanta, along with Dallas and Houston being part of the southern region. We embrace our self-perform and the development of our craft workforce. Senior superintendent, a superintendent is pretty much the person on the field, out in the field, that coordinates the work in the field, makes sure the safety, the quality, the schedule, that everything clicks every day. So that's what I do.
It's such a critical job and a role. And I have spent a lot of time in that airport, and I cannot wait to go back through it again soon and see all the amazing work, because it needed a little bit of love. And so I can't wait to see the finished product. So, kind of think, looking at your background, checking it out, it sounds like we kind of had a similar childhood. I am a tinkerer and a builder at heart, grew up with it just very naturally. And I heard you always wanted to build things too. What were some of your more memorable builds from when you were a kid?
So when I was a kid, when I was 7 years old, our family built a new house, and I got to help a little bit, but not a lot. Most of the time I just, sat at a distance and watched the trades, the masons, the framers, and all those guys come out and work, and was really amazed at how every day things changed. So, kind of from that, just kind of was intrigued by it. And after the house got built, my brothers were a lot older than I was. So we lived out in the country, and I would take a lot of that surplus material, go out to the edge of the woods, and I'd build a little town here and a little town there, and that kind of stuff. And
Love it.
probably my most memorable build when I was a kid was, I think I was around 14 years old. I asked my parents for Christmas to get some tools, a saw, a drill, a sander, a tape and a level, and I built myself a bookcase for my room, and I kept it for a long, long time, and that was probably my most memorable build.
That is absolutely fantastic. I love it. Yep. Yeah, we were very simple. Like, wow, I could just build it. Make it possible. Yeah. So it's that love of creating that really drives, I think, a lot of us into the industry, walking away at the end of the day and saying, I'm tired, but look, I built that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So how did you get started then? You said you're kind of like sparked or inspired by that house build, but how did you actually get started in the field, and what advice do you have for students considering a future in construction?
So like I said, my brothers were older than I was. My oldest brother was 11 years older than me, Donnie, and he was already working as a carpenter foreman when I graduated high school. And I asked him about getting me a job until I could figure out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so I went to work there at the MARTA Art Center station in Atlanta a long time ago, and just really liked it. From there, I started, got in the Carpenter's Apprenticeship program and started there, went to Atlanta Tech, and the rest is kind of history. I just never looked back and never wanted to, really do anything but this. So, for people coming up, the only thing I can say is construction has been a wonderful industry to be in. It's helped me make a good living for my family. And I'm really proud of the things that I've been able to be a part of and build with the teams that I've worked with.
Do you do the thing where you drive around town with your family and you're like, I built that, I built that? Like, oh
yeah, they've heard it so much now that when I'm driving down the road, before I actually get there, they're like, okay, y'all, it's coming, it's coming.
I love it. No, it's awesome. And I think that's, I don't know, it's one of the best things I think we all do on, oh, let me tell you. And then you say it so much, it's like a good dad joke, but even funnier. So, I come out of residential. There are so many pathways just in residential. I mean, we talk about 27-ish different trades to build a house. Commercial's way bigger. You started as a carpenter, and I'm really excited. I actually want to ask you real quick, how was your experience with being a carpenter's apprentice and going through that process?
It was really good. So I would, during the apprenticeship, I would work 40 hours a week, or 50, 60, ever what it took to get the job done. But on 2 nights a week, I would go to class for 5 hours, and that was for a period of 4 years. Then after 4 years, I got a journeyman certificate for from the Department of Labor. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And
it's really the right way. That. And I really hope that more students take this path, because it is you can take that journeyman's license anywhere. Where do you want to go? You can travel.
Exactly.
We both know this because, I also started as a framer. Kids, please take all your tools and tie them to the back of your truck and drive around the block a few times before you go on that job site. Make them look a little dirty.
That's right.
Now we both are kind of in higher positions. So what do you tell students about this pathway, the growth potential? It's not just always, swinging a hammer.
Yeah. So, you asked about the carpenter's apprenticeship. So when I was in the apprenticeship, one of my instructors told us one night, he said, when you're a carpenter, you have to think about what the trades that's coming before you and the trades that's coming after you. So as part of that knowledge of a carpenter, I was always looking at what came first and then who had to follow me up to make sure that we were coordinating that way. And you mentioned working in residential. So I actually worked 9 years in commercial, and then I left for about 8 years, and in '97 came back to commercial because I missed the big projects. And so I came back as a carpenter foreman, and the superintendent that I worked with, he took a note to the planning, the coordination that I'd done because of that instructor at the apprenticeship. And he said, you need to be a superintendent, and I'm going to keep giving you a raise until they promote you to superintendent. And so that happened pretty quickly, and that was over 20 years ago. But, the advice I could say to somebody coming up to learn the trade, be knowledgeable, coordinate with others, learn to work with others, and just be, always looking to learn and improve every day.
I love that advice. And I really love the advice that, the apprenticeship set you up for, is realizing that your trade is part of a team. We're all part of this process together. We don't have to sit and argue all the time, but be conscious of your work. Gosh, I did trim carpentry. Oh, you get really creative when stuff's not square, and then you talk to the framer.
That's right.
So I can understand your bosses and employer seeing your leadership potential, but what for you was the decision to go from a trades role into a leadership position?
For me, I think it was just being able to be part of a larger team. And, since I've gotten into the superintendent role, I've been able to work with architects. A lot of my work has been in hospitals and higher education. So, just being able to be part of that collaborative team of the architect and the getting it built and the end users, because in hospitals, a lot of the work that we do inside hospitals, we got to make sure that, that what we're doing on our side doesn't interfere with what they're doing. So there's a lot of coordination with the managers of the ICUs and the operating rooms. So just that being able to be part of something bigger than just me going out and putting some things together.
I love it. I absolutely do. I work in my wood shop a lot alone, which is fun sometimes. I get it. But there's something about being on a job site and everybody's doing this dance together, creating, that's just vibrant. The energy is so, I don't know. I love it. And I can understand then why you went that way.
Yep.
But okay, so I have I've hired some construction managers who've come right out of college and never been on a job site. Super cute. I lost one for an hour when I told him to go get the lumber stretcher. And I find him an hour later trying to take the winch off my Jeep. And I was like, you have not been on a job site. So
he thought you'd ask him to go look for a sky hook.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, I want a full hot bucket of steam stat.
There you go.
we need to write a coffee table book. There's something here. But I think that there's a lot of value when leaders come out of the industry, and it's you really learn on the job site. What insight do you feel you provide in your current job because of your years and experience as a trades professional?
I think as a carpenter, like you said, we put things together. So we're always having to solve issues when something's not exactly square, when something's not exactly level, or maybe the drawing is not absolutely correct, and we have to come up with a solution. I think having the knowledge and the experience of solving those issues out in the field is very beneficial in the role that I'm in now.
Wow, you're right. That is a terrific answer, because it's brainstorming, problem solving, communicating. These are all like, okay, all right, cool. Maybe I have another career still left in me. Who knows? What advice do you have for people who want to be successful and really make it in this industry and thrive?
So I always kind of, you got to always be ready for open to new opportunities. A carpenter I worked with years ago, as a senior superintendent or a superintendent role, he used to tell me, he said, Rome wasn't built in a day, but then we was not on that job. And moral to his story was always, you got to be patient, but you always have to push for progress. And, I think as somebody that wants to excel in this business, just, being able to be patient, learning how to deal with people. And that's kind of a hard thing to do sometimes when you're out there in the heat of the battle. And, it took me a long time to learn some of those skills, but just always be pushing for progress, but at the same time, be patient.
I love that.
Be a little bit impatient.
Yeah, I know. And it actually, I think it's going to be kind of harder for younger folks to realize that patience is important. You cannot fabricate a countertop overnight.
That's right.
Stuff does not dry in the realm of TV time. Turns out, weird, who knows? So could you give me a little bit of insight on, if I come on to a job site and want to start on the path to become a senior superintendent, can you talk about what jobs I would start off on, like maybe a laborer position? And then what is maybe a salary or an hourly wage and something like that?
So there is, I mean, there's several different avenues that you could go in to be a superintendent. There's a lot of people that takes the avenue of coming up through the trade, starting as a laborer and a carpenter or an electrician or a field engineer, surveyor. And then there's people that comes up through the college ranks and you know, starts out as interns and works their way and naturally levitate towards that superintendent role. So really either way that you wanted to go is a way to get there. But I think a lot of times the coming through the trades part has in the last few years has been kind of lost. So my message to folks in schools, that's in woodshop classes, that maybe they don't know exactly what they want to do, you know, get out like I did and get started. And, you know, if you want to take the college route, that's great. You can, you know, there's time to do that. And, you know, just there are several different ways that you can go about it, but you know, just
you're right, and it's awesome because we've said for so long that pathway of high school, college, university, job, it's so clear. It's just that's the way it is, but it's not in our industry. There's so many ways to fall into it, get into it, pursue it. Does McCarthy have any sort of internships or opportunities for employment? Like, I want to come work there now. I'm really interested in the hospital stuff. But no, please, any opportunities for students?
Yes, we do. We in several of our offices, we are starting internship programs for schools. So in Atlanta, we're starting to look into that some as well. And then also, you know, I've been involved with SEFCA for a few years, and we're working to get involved with some of the schools. I've been on the advisory board at Jackson High School, and, you know, trying to be an avenue for some of those folks when they get out of high school, if they want to come to work, that they can come to work on a McCarthy job and work their way up through the ranks. I
love it because I'm really, the hospital construction is almost, I think, another level because of all the high technology and safety and cleanliness. Like, oh, it's cool stuff. Like, oh, neat. All right, so let's pretend I'm a student right now. I'm watching this. I want to look into the internships. Tell me, one, where's a good place to check it out? Maybe a website. And then two, with the COVID things, are you folks still looking into internships?
So with, they could go to the McCarthy website. There's a lot of things there. You've had that pulled up now. If you go up to the top, you can see the craft resources. We have several folks within our organization that can lead them in the path that they would need to go. With the COVID resources, we have been open as an essential business since COVID hit, and you know, we have our safety protocols. We mask up every day. We do our screening, and you know, the main thing is keep everybody safe. And you know, the opportunities are there. They can reach out to the Atlanta office that's on West Paces Ferry Road in Atlanta, or you know, go to our website and reach out to any of those for the career paths, and we'll be more than happy to have you on board.
I love it. I hope the internet crashes today, or your website does, from all the people going to go check it out, because the opportunities are grand. I mean, really, the growth potential. And hey, you know, I could do GC, but really I like setting tile. So, you know, you could do sort of whatever really makes you happy. You know, we did talk about the partnership with SEFCA, because, you know, I think it comes down to the soft skills. If you have the right attitude, I can teach you how to swing a hammer. But if you're grumpy all the time, no. What other personality traits does an employee have to be successful in this career?
Just never, you know, you got to always be open to change. Change is part of construction, and you know, a lot of people kind of push away from change. I kind of embrace change because it's part of what we do every day. It's part of what drives us to enjoy what we enjoy. The fact that it changes every day because of stuff that we put in place. So being able to embrace change and always be open to new opportunities and never get, things don't always go the way they should go on a project site. And like I said before, my first years as superintendent, I would fly off the handle, get upset because things didn't go the way I thought they did. And you just have to learn how to handle that and know that things aren't always going to go the way you want them to go. But in the end of the day, I've never been on a job that didn't finish. And and I pride myself, and McCarthy prides ourselves in building quality projects and being good partners with people. And that's our tradespeople, the people we work with, the organizations we're involved with, and our owners.
It's fantastic. And I cannot wait to get in that airport and look at all of the amazing work and all the loveliness. It's pretty impressive. And I had no idea McCarthy was that old. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And I really hope that a lot of our folks take advantage. So Greg, thank you so much for sharing all of this information and insight. It was a pleasure and a half to chat with you and also learn too. So I hope everybody goes to mccarthy.com, check out those internships, and then you too could work with Greg.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, Kaylee.
Awesome. Thank you. And to all of our fans and viewers, thank you so much for continuing to tune on. It's been a great interview. If you have any other questions, feel free to text Career Path to 31996. And then next week, join us because I'm going to be interviewing Doug King, who is the president of NARI, and that's the National Association of the Remodeling Industry. What a mouthful. And so it is. We get commercial this week, residential, like, let's get people employed. I don't care. Pick up a hammer and come work. So Greg, enjoy the rest of your week, and everybody have a fabulous rest of your day. Thanks.